This is HOA citation circus. The key ring was the detail she forgot. You are not allowed to ignore the process. Monica Pierce screamed it at me like I had just burned down the clubhouse. She stood blocking my mailbox at the cluster, waving a laminated guideline sheet without letting me read it, her blonde hair whipping around her face in the wind. I had just asked, for the second time, if she had a delivery photo showing the package that vanished from my porch yesterday. She responded by accusing me of stealing a box of replacement door hardware from the HOA storage closet and threatening daily fines starting tomorrow unless I admitted it. I am a mechanic. I fix cars. I do not steal door hardware. The box that disappeared from my porch yesterday was mine, shipped to my address, and I had the tracking receipt in my truck to prove it. But Monica Pierce, neighborhood communications lead for Copper Creek Estates HOA in Austin, Texas, did not care. She had already decided I was guilty, and she was holding a clipboard in a clear sleeve like it was evidence. I needed that hardware to replace a broken deadbolt on my garage side door before my refinance appraisal next week. Any lien threat on my property file could wreck the deal, and Monica knew it. She jabbed a finger at me. I have already reported this. The stolen hardware was logged missing this morning, and you were the last person to request access to that closet. I stared at her. I had never requested access to the storage closet. I had asked the management office 3 weeks ago about renting a parking spot, and they told me no spots were available. That was the extent of my interaction with HOA storage. Monica smirked and tapped her clipboard. The access log does not lie. You signed in last Tuesday at 2:15, and the hardware went missing sometime after that. I pulled out my phone and opened my work calendar. Last Tuesday at 2:15 I was at a shop in Round Rock replacing a transmission. I had the invoice timestamped and everything. I showed her the screen. She glanced at it and waved it away. That does not prove you were not here first. You could have stopped by on your way. I felt my jaw tighten. Round Rock is 30 minutes north. My job log shows I clocked in at 1:45 and did not leave until 6. She shrugged. Then someone signed your name. Either way, you are responsible for what happens under your account, and the fines start tomorrow unless you admit fault and pay the replacement cost. I asked her how much. She smiled. $300 for the hardware, plus a $50 administrative fee, plus $25 per day starting tomorrow if you refuse to comply. I looked past her at the other neighbors standing near their mailboxes. A couple of them were watching now. One guy, an older man named Carl with a gray beard, met my eyes and shook his head slightly. Monica turned and raised her voice so everyone could hear. This is what happens when people think the rules do not apply to them. We have processes for a reason, and if you ignore them, you create problems for the entire community. She slammed the clipboard against her thigh for emphasis. I took a breath and kept my voice calm. I did not steal anything. I did not sign any access log. If someone used my name, that is identity fraud, and you need to show me the log so I can file a police report. Monica laughed. You do not get to demand anything. I am the one with the documentation, and unless you want this to escalate, you will settle this today. She pulled a printed notice from the clipboard and tried to hand it to me. I did not take it. She let it flutter to the ground between us. I asked if the management office had camera footage of the storage closet. Monica stiffened. That is not your concern. Only the HOA decides what footage is shared, and we are not going to waste time pulling video because you refuse to take responsibility. I bent down and picked up the notice. The header said violation and referenced a section number I had never heard of. The body text claimed I had accessed restricted storage without authorization and removed association property. At the bottom, a line threatened lien filing if I did not respond within 72 hours. I folded the notice and put it in my jacket pocket. I said I wanted to appeal. Monica crossed her arms. You can submit an appeal through the online portal, but it has to be filed within 48 hours, and the review process takes at least 2 weeks. In the meantime, the fines accumulate, so you are better off just paying now. I asked if the portal was the same system I use to pay my dues. She nodded. Then I will file tonight. She smirked again. Good luck with that. I walked back to my truck, parked 2 rows over, and sat in the cab with the door open. Carl, the neighbor who had shaken his head earlier, walked over and leaned against the side of the bed. He kept his voice low. She did the same thing to the guy in Unit 47 last month. Accused him of damaging the pool fence, demanded payment, threatened liens. He paid just to make it stop, and then 2 weeks later someone found pictures proving the fence was already broken before he moved in. Management never refunded him. I asked if he reported it. Carl shrugged. He tried. Monica told him the payment was final and the matter was closed. Guy moved out 3 months later. I thanked him and said I was going to fight it. Carl nodded. If you need a witness, let me know. I have a dash cam that runs 24/7, and it covers part of the parking lot near the storage building. If someone was coming and going, I might have caught it. I asked if he would pull the footage for last Tuesday afternoon. He said he would check tonight and text me. I gave him my number and watched him walk back toward his building. Monica was still standing at the mailbox cluster, talking to another resident and pointing in my direction. I drove home and parked in my driveway. My house is a 2-story unit on the east side of the development near the retention pond and the walking trail. The garage side door, the one with the broken deadbolt, faced the side yard and the fence line. I had been waiting on that hardware box to fix it because the latch had sheared off 2 weeks ago during a storm. And I had been using a padlock through the handle as a temporary fix. The package was supposed to arrive yesterday, and the tracking showed it had been delivered to my porch at 11:30 in the morning. When I got home from work at 7, it was gone. I went inside and opened my laptop. The Copper Creek Estates HOA portal was a clunky system with a green and white color scheme and a navigation menu that took forever to load. I logged in and clicked on the appeals section. The form asked for a case number, a description of the violation, and any supporting documentation. I typed in the case number from the notice Monica had given me and wrote a 3-paragraph explanation. I was at work in Round Rock during the alleged access time. I had never requested storage access, and I wanted to see the access log and any camera footage. I attached a PDF of my work invoice with the timestamp and hit submit. The system showed a spinning wheel for 10 seconds, then displayed a confirmation message. Your appeal has been received and will be reviewed within 14 business days. I screenshotted the confirmation and saved it to a folder on my desktop. Then I checked my email. Nothing from the HOA. I checked the tracking number for my missing package. The carrier site still showed it as delivered, with a photo attached. I opened the photo. It was a wide shot of my porch taken from the walkway, showing a medium-sized cardboard box sitting against the door. The timestamp said 11:27 yesterday morning. I downloaded the image and zoomed in. The box had my address label visible on the top, and the tape was intact. No damage, no signs of tampering. It was there, and then it was gone. I texted Carl and asked if his dashcam covered my porch. He replied a few minutes later, no, but it covers the street and part of the common area near the mailboxes. I will check for anyone walking toward your building around that time. I thanked him and started going through my own doorbell camera footage. I had installed a basic wireless camera above my front door 3 months ago after someone kept leaving dog waste bags on my walkway. The camera saved clips to a cloud account whenever it detected motion. I scrolled back to yesterday morning and found a clip at 11:29. It showed the delivery driver walking away from my porch after dropping the box. 2 minutes later, another clip triggered. A woman in a tan rain jacket and a gray bucket hat walked up my walkway, bent down, picked up the box, and walked away. The angle showed her back and part of her profile, but the blonde hair was visible under the hat. It was Monica. I watched the clip 4 times. The timestamp was clear, 11:31 yesterday morning. The box was in her hands. She walked back toward the street, out of frame, and did not return. I checked the next few clips. Nothing. I downloaded the video file and saved it to the same folder as the portal screenshot and the work invoice. Then I called the non-emergency police line and explained that I had footage of someone stealing a package from my porch. The dispatcher asked if I knew the person. I said yes. She asked if I wanted to file a report. I said yes. She told me an officer would come by within the next few hours to take a statement. I made coffee and waited. Around 8:30, a deputy showed up. I showed him the doorbell footage on my laptop. He watched it twice and asked if I could identify the woman. I told him her name and her role in the HOA. He asked if there was any prior conflict. I explained the storage accusation in the notice. He raised an eyebrow. So she accuses you of theft this afternoon, and you have footage of her stealing your package yesterday morning. I nodded. He asked for a copy of the video. I emailed it to him from my account. He gave me an incident number and said he would follow up with Monica and the management office. He also suggested I file a complaint with the HOA management company directly, since this involved an HOA officer abusing her position. The deputy left. I sent an email to the Copper Creek Estates management office with the subject line, "Formal complaint against Monica Pierce." I attached the doorbell video, the work invoice, the portal appeal screenshot, and a timeline of events. I kept the tone professional and factual. I hit send and went to bed. The next morning I woke up to 3 emails. The first was from the management office, thanking me for my complaint and saying they would investigate. The second was from the HOA portal system, saying my appeal had been reviewed and denied due to insufficient evidence. The third was from Monica, sent at 6:45 in the morning, with the subject line, "Final warning." The body text said that because I had failed to pay the fine by the deadline, daily penalties were now active, and my account was being flagged for lien filing. She also claimed the portal never received my appeal, even though it did, and that I had missed the window to contest the violation. I opened the portal and navigated to my account. The appeal I had filed last night was gone. There was no record of it in my submission history. The case file for the storage violation showed only the original notice and a note saying, "No appeal filed." Matter closed. I took a screenshot of the empty appeals page and saved it next to the confirmation screenshot I had taken the night before. Someone had deleted my appeal from the system. I called the management office. The receptionist, a woman named Angela, answered on the 3rd ring. I explained what had happened. She put me on hold and came back 2 minutes later. She said the portal logs showed my appeal had been opened at 9:15 last night by an administrator account and then deleted at 9:17. She could not tell me which administrator, but there were only 3 people with that level of access: the property manager, the assistant manager, and Monica Pierce. I asked her to document the deletion and restore my appeal. She said she would file an internal ticket and get back to me by the end of the day. I thanked her and hung up. Then I texted Carl and asked if he had found anything on his dashcam. He replied with a short video file. The footage showed Monica walking past his building yesterday at 11:32 in the morning, carrying a cardboard box that matched the size and shape of my missing package. She walked toward the parking lot near the storage building and disappeared behind a row of cars. Carl added a text, "She was in a hurry." I have never seen her carry anything from the mailboxes before. I thanked him and added his video to my evidence folder. At 10 in the morning, my phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. It was a photo of a printed notice taped to my front door. The notice had a red header and said, "Violation update, daily fines active." I walked outside. The notice was there, taped crooked across the doorbell camera. I peeled it off and read it. The text claimed I now owed $425, $300 for the hardware, $50 for the administrative fee, $50 for the first day of daily fines, and $25 for a records processing fee I had never heard of. At the bottom, Monica had handwritten a note in blue ink, "Payment due by 5 p.m. today or lien filing begins." I took a picture of the notice and texted it to Angela at the management office with the message, "Monica is now hand-delivering threats to my door. This is harassment." Angela replied, "I see it. I am escalating this to the property manager." I waited. No response. I checked my email. Nothing new. I decided to go to the management office in person. The Copper Creek Estates Management Office is a small building near the front entrance of the development, next to the amenity center and the pool. It has a reception window and a waiting area with 4 plastic chairs. I parked in the lot and walked inside. Angela was behind the window, typing on a computer. She looked up when I walked in. I said I was here to follow up on my complaint. She nodded and glanced toward the back office. "The property manager is in a meeting right now, but I can get you scheduled for later this week." I told her I needed to speak to someone today because Monica was threatening to file a lien this afternoon. Angela frowned. "Let me check with him." She disappeared into the back. I heard voices. A minute later, a man in a polo shirt with a Copper Creek Estates logo came out. He introduced himself as Derek, the property manager. He asked me to explain the situation. I gave him the short version. Monica stole my package, accused me of stealing HOA property, deleted my appeal from the portal, and was now threatening daily fines and a lien. He asked if I had proof. I pulled out my phone and showed him the doorbell footage of Monica taking my package. He watched it. His expression did not change. He asked if I had reported it to the police. I said yes and gave him the incident number. He nodded slowly. He said he would need to review the portal logs and speak with Monica before making any decisions. I asked how long that would take. He said at least a few days. I told him I did not have a few days because Monica was threatening lien filing this afternoon. He sighed. "I cannot stop her from filing a notice of violation, but I can put a hold on any lien paperwork until we complete the investigation. That is the best I can do right now." I asked if he could at least restore my deleted appeal. He said he would look into it. I thanked him and left. Back at my truck, I sat in the cab and checked my phone. Carl had sent another message. Monica just showed up at the clubhouse with a table and a clipboard. She is collecting signatures for something. I do not know what, but she keeps pointing toward your side of the development when people ask. I started the engine and drove to the clubhouse. The clubhouse is a single-story building with a covered patio and a small lawn area used for community events. When I pulled into the lot, I saw Monica standing behind a folding table near the entrance. She had a clipboard, a stack of printed forms, and a poster board propped on an easel. The poster board had a hand-drawn chart with no readable text, but I could see my unit number circled in red marker at the top. A few residents were standing around the table listening to her talk. I parked and walked over. Monica saw me coming and raised her voice. "Here he is now. This is the person I have been telling you about." She pointed at me. Several residents turned to look. I stopped a few feet from the table and kept my hands in my pockets. I asked what she was doing. She smiled. "I am collecting signatures from concerned neighbors who want to see stronger enforcement of our community standards. We have had multiple incidents of theft and vandalism in recent weeks, and it is time we hold people accountable." One of the residents, a woman in yoga pants, asked what kind of incidents. Monica gestured at the poster board. Stolen property from the storage closet, missing packages, damaged amenities. All of it started after certain individuals moved in and refused to follow the rules. She looked directly at me. The woman frowned. "Do you have proof of who did it?" Monica tapped the clipboard. "I have documentation, witness statements, and access logs. The HOA is handling it, but we need community support to make sure the penalties stick." I stepped closer and spoke loud enough for everyone to hear. "The only theft I am aware of is Monica stealing a package from my porch yesterday. I have doorbell camera footage of her doing it, and I have filed a police report. If anyone here wants to see the video, I am happy to show you." Monica's smile vanished. "That is a lie. I have never been to your porch, and if you are going to make false accusations, I will add defamation to the list of violations." The yoga pants woman looked between us. You have video? I pulled out my phone and opened the clip. I held the screen so she could see it. Monica walked up behind me and tried to grab my phone. I pulled it away. She shouted that I was not allowed to record HOA business without permission. I told her the video was from my own doorbell camera on my own property, and I could show it to whoever I wanted. Another resident, a younger guy in a baseball cap, asked to see it. I played the clip for him. He watched Monica pick up the box and walk away. He looked at her. That is your jacket. Monica's face went red. You cannot prove that is me. The angle does not show my face. I zoomed in on the frame where her profile was visible. The blonde hair, the tan jacket, the gray bucket hat. The baseball cap guy nodded. That is definitely you. Monica grabbed the clipboard and held it up like a shield. This is fabricated evidence. He edited the video. I stayed calm. I did not edit anything. The file has metadata showing the exact time it was recorded, and the police have a copy. If you want to claim it is fake, you can explain that to them. The yoga pants woman stepped back from the table. I am not signing anything until this gets cleared up. The baseball cap guy agreed. Monica's hands were shaking now. She put the clipboard down and pointed at the camera lens mounted on the corner of the clubhouse. The HOA has security footage too, and it will prove I was never near your building yesterday. I asked if she was willing to share that footage. She hesitated. That is up to management. I told her I had already requested it through my appeal, which she deleted from the portal. She shouted that I had no proof she deleted anything. I pulled up the 2 screenshots on my phone, the portal confirmation from last night showing my appeal was filed, and the empty appeals page from this morning showing it was gone. I held them side by side. The timestamp on the confirmation was 9:04 last night. The portal logs Angela showed me said the appeal was deleted at 9:17 by an administrator account. I asked Monica if she was logged into the portal last night. She did not answer. The baseball cap guy asked her again. Monica grabbed the poster board and folded it in half. She said the meeting was over and walked toward her car. I stayed at the table. The yoga pants woman asked if I was really being fined. I showed her the notice Monica had taped to my door. She read it and shook her head. This is insane. You should get a lawyer. I told her I was working on it. The baseball cap guy said he had seen Monica taking boxes from the storage closet last month and assumed she was moving HOA supplies. Now he was wondering what else she had taken. I asked if he would be willing to give a statement to the police or the property manager. He said yes and gave me his name and unit number. I thanked him and added his information to my notes. Monica's car peeled out of the lot. I walked back to my truck and called Angela at the management office. I told her what had just happened at the clubhouse. She said Derek was already aware of the incident because another resident had called to complain about Monica's behavior. I asked if that changed anything. Angela said Derek was scheduling a meeting with Monica tomorrow morning and would follow up with me afterward. I asked again about my appeal. She said it had been restored in the system and would be reviewed by the end of the week. I thanked her and hung up. That afternoon I got a text from Carl. He had pulled more footage from his dashcam. The new clip showed Monica walking into the storage building yesterday at 11:40 with the same cardboard box she had taken from my porch. She came out 10 minutes later without the box. Carl added, I checked the old footage from 3 weeks ago. She has been going in and out of that building almost every day, always carrying something. I think she has been stealing for a while. I asked if he would send me all the clips. He said he would put them on a thumb drive and drop it off tonight. I spent the rest of the afternoon organizing my evidence. I created a timeline document with timestamps for every event. The package delivery, Monica taking the box, her accusation at the mailbox cluster, my work alibi, the doorbell footage, the portal deletion, the clubhouse confrontation. I attached every screenshot, video file, and receipt. By the time Carl knocked on my door at 7 with the thumb drive, I had a folder ready to go. He handed me the drive and said he had also written a short statement describing what he saw. I thanked him and told him I owed him a case of beer. He laughed. Just get her out of here. She has been making this place miserable for 2 years. I plugged the thumb drive into my laptop and watched the clips. Carl was right. Monica had been going in and out of the storage building constantly. On some days she carried boxes, on others she carried garbage bags or reusable shopping totes. The building did not have a camera inside, but the timing and frequency made it clear she was not just doing HOA business. I copied all the files to my evidence folder and labeled them by date. The next morning I woke up to an email from Derek. He had met with Monica, and she denied all allegations. She claimed the doorbell footage was edited, the portal deletion was a system glitch, and the clubhouse incident was me harassing her in front of witnesses. Derek said he was continuing the investigation and asked if I could come to the office at 2 in the afternoon to provide a formal statement. I replied yes and spent the morning printing copies of everything: the timeline, the screenshots, the video stills, Carl's statement, the police incident number, and the thumb drive contents. At 1:45 I drove to the management office. Angela was at the window again. She buzzed me into the back and led me to a small conference room. Derek was already there, along with another woman I did not recognize. She introduced herself as Pamela, the assistant property manager. Derek asked me to walk through the entire situation from the beginning. I did. I showed them the printed timeline and handed over copies of every document. Pamela took notes. Derek watched the doorbell footage on my phone and then watched the dashcam clips on my laptop. When I finished, he leaned back in his chair and rubbed his face. He said they had reviewed the portal logs in detail. My appeal had been opened at 9:15 on the night I filed it by Monica's administrator account. 2 minutes later, it was deleted. The system recorded her IP address and login timestamp. There was no glitch. Derek also said they had pulled the access logs for the storage building. Monica had checked in 47 times in the past 2 months, which was far more than any other HOA officer. Most of those check-ins occurred outside of scheduled maintenance or events. He had asked her to explain, and she said she was organizing supplies and doing inventory. He asked if she had any inventory records. She did not. Pamela said they had also received a complaint from another resident about missing items from the pool shed. The resident claimed she had left a bag of pool toys in the shed 2 weeks ago, and when she came back, the bag was gone. Monica had told her the shed was cleaned out and anything left behind was discarded. The resident did not believe her because the shed cleanout was not scheduled until next month. Pamela asked if I thought Monica had taken those items too. I said it was possible, but I did not have proof of that. Derek said they were going to inspect the storage building this afternoon and see what they found. He also said the lien threat was being canceled. My account was clear, the fines were reversed, and my appeal was officially granted. He apologized for the way Monica had handled the situation and said she would be placed on administrative leave pending the outcome of the investigation. I asked what that meant for my stolen package. He said that was a police matter, and they could not get involved beyond cooperating with the investigation. I told him the deputy had my footage and the incident number. He wrote it down. I left the office feeling slightly better but not satisfied. Monica was on leave, but she was not gone. The lien was canceled, but my package was still missing and I still did not have the hardware I needed. I drove to a home improvement store and bought a replacement deadbolt set. It cost me $60. When I got home, I installed it in 20 minutes and threw the broken one in the trash. Then I sat down and wrote an email to the deputy who had taken my report. I attached all the new evidence, including the dashcam footage and the portal deletion logs. I asked if there was enough to charge Monica with theft and abuse of access. He replied 2 hours later, "We are reviewing. I will be in touch." That night I got a call from Carl. He said Monica had just been escorted out of the storage building by Derek and Pamela. They had found boxes of missing items stacked in a back corner: pool toys, cleaning supplies, extension cords, a spare mailbox key set, and my package. Carl said the box with my address label was sitting on top of the pile, open but not empty. He asked if I wanted to come down and see. I told him I would be there in 5 minutes. I parked near the storage building and walked inside. Derek and Pamela were standing near a metal shelf unit, taking pictures with their phones. On the floor next to the shelf was a cardboard box with my address label. The tape had been cut, and the flaps were folded back. Inside were the door hardware pieces I had ordered, 2 deadbolts, a handle set, and a pack of screws. Nothing was missing. I asked Derek if I could take it. He said yes, but he needed to photograph it first for documentation. He took 3 pictures from different angles, then handed me the box. I looked at the rest of the pile. There were at least a dozen items that clearly did not belong to the HOA, a yoga mat, a stainless steel water bottle, a small toolbox, a reusable shopping bag full of batteries, and a Ziploc bag full of spare keys with no labels. Pamela said they were going to contact every resident who had reported missing items and see if any of this matched. She also said they were reviewing the security footage from the building exterior to document every time Monica entered. I asked if the footage showed her carrying my package inside. She nodded. We have her on camera walking in with your box at 11:42 yesterday morning. That matches the time on the dashcam footage Carl gave you. I thanked them and carried the box to my truck. On the way out, I saw Monica sitting in her car in the parking lot talking on her phone. She saw me and ended the call. She rolled down her window and shouted that I had no right to go into the storage building without authorization. I kept walking. She got out of her car and followed me. I stopped and turned around. She was holding her phone like she was about to record. I told her the property manager gave me permission to retrieve my stolen property, and if she had a problem with that, she could take it up with Derek. She said I was fabricating everything and that the box was planted. I asked how I could plant my own package in a locked building I had no access to. She said I must have gotten a key from someone. I pulled out my phone and opened the doorbell footage again. I played it for her at full volume. Look. That is you. That is my porch. That is my package. You stole it. She tried to grab my phone again. I stepped back. She screamed that I was harassing her and that she was going to call the police. I told her the police already had the footage and an incident number, and if she wanted to add filing a false report to her problems, she should go ahead and call. A neighbor I had never seen before walked past us and stopped. She was holding a phone and recording. Monica noticed and spun toward her. You are not allowed to record me without consent. The neighbor, a woman with a ponytail and a running jacket, said she was on public property and could record whatever she wanted. Monica pointed at her. I have already reported this. The neighbor laughed. Reported what? Me? Standing here? Monica did not answer. She turned and walked back to her car. The neighbor gave me a thumbs up and kept walking. I put the box in my truck and drove home. 20 minutes later, I got a text from Derek. Monica has been terminated from her HOA role effective immediately. The board is meeting tomorrow to discuss next steps. Your case is closed and your account is clear. I replied, thank you. Then I forwarded the message to Carl and the baseball cap guy and the yoga pants woman. Carl replied with a beer emoji. The baseball cap guy replied, finally. The next afternoon, Derek called me. He said the police had contacted him and requested copies of all the evidence the management office had collected: the portal logs, the access logs, the storage building photos, and the security footage. He had provided everything. He also said the board had voted to issue a formal apology letter to me and to reimburse me for the replacement deadbolt I had bought. I asked if Monica was facing any charges. He said that was up to the police and the district attorney, but he had heard from Angela that the deputy was building a case for theft and abuse of position. I thanked him and hung up. 2 weeks later, I got a voicemail from the deputy. He said Monica had been charged with theft under $500 and misuse of access credentials. She had pleaded no contest and was sentenced to community service and probation. She was also banned from serving in any HOA leadership role in the state for 5 years. The deputy said my case was closed, and if I had any questions I could call him back. I did not call back. I deleted the voicemail and moved on. The following month, the HOA board held a community meeting at the clubhouse. I did not plan to go, but Carl texted me and said I should. He said the board was announcing a policy clarification that destroys Monica's favorite tactic, and he thought I would want to see it. I drove over. The meeting room was packed. Derek stood at the front with a microphone and a projector screen. He explained that the board had reviewed the access control procedures for all HOA facilities and found multiple gaps. Going forward, all access to storage buildings, pool sheds, and maintenance closets would require two-person authorization. No single officer or board member could check in alone. All access logs would be audited monthly and posted to the portal for transparency. Any missing items would trigger an immediate investigation with law enforcement involvement. The room clapped. Derek also said the board had voted to refund my deadbolt cost and to issue a formal written apology, which had been mailed to my address. He asked if I wanted to say anything. I shook my head. Carl raised his hand and said the community owed me a thank you for standing up to Monica when no one else would. A few people clapped again. I felt my face get hot. I nodded and sat down. The meeting continued for another 20 minutes, covering budgets and landscaping schedules. I left as soon as it ended. On the way out, the yoga pants woman stopped me in the parking lot. She said she had heard Monica tried to intimidate another neighbor last week by showing up at their door with a clipboard and claiming they owed back dues. The neighbor had recorded the interaction and reported it to the police. Monica was now facing an additional charge for harassment. The yoga pants woman said it felt like justice was finally working. I agreed. A week later, I got a check in the mail from the HOA for $60. The memo line said reimbursement for hardware replacement. I deposited it and used the money to take Carl out for dinner and drinks. He told me the storage building was now locked with a keypad system that logged every entry by name and timestamp. He also said a new neighborhood communications lead had been elected, and she was the total opposite of Monica, quiet, respectful, and focused on actual communication instead of enforcement theatrics. I said that sounded like an upgrade. He laughed. Anything is an upgrade after Monica. I have not seen Monica since the day she was escorted out of the storage building. I heard from another neighbor that she moved out of Copper Creek Estates 2 months after her sentencing. No one knows where she went, and no one cares. The pool shed is organized now. The storage building is clean. The mailbox cluster is quiet. The HOA still sends notices for minor violations, but they are reasonable and backed by actual rules. Life in the neighborhood is boring again, which is exactly how I like it. The rumor died in real time as people watched the proof. The security vendor refused to perform for Karen, management disciplined her, and my fees were refunded. A policy clarification destroyed her favorite tactic. Monica's attempt to intimidate a neighbor backfired, and the neighbor reported it. The HOA retracted the accusation in writing and cleared the ledger. I refinanced my house 3 months later with no lien threat hanging over my head. The appraisal went through clean, and the rate locked in exactly where I needed it. Carl still waves at me every morning when I leave for work. The baseball cap guy nods when we pass each other on the trail. The yoga pants woman asks how I am doing when we run into each other at the mailboxes. The neighborhood feels normal again. I installed a second camera above my garage side door just in case, but I have not needed it. No one has touched my packages. No one has accused me of anything. The only mail I get from the HOA now is the monthly newsletter and the annual budget summary. I read them, file them, and forget about them. Thanks for watching, and I appreciate you being here.